Another special episode. We are here once again. David Lamont, Lulu in the building, and special guest. Introduce yourself for the people, man.
Hi, I'm Devonte Lucas. I'm a singer-songwriter in the Fredericksburg area.
Dope. So where are you from, Devonte?
I'm actually from Fredericksburg.
Oh,
I
dope.
grew up here since 2000.
Since 2000? Okay, dope.
Where were you born?
Woodbridge, so not far. I'm 30 minutes.
Mm.
I want to jump right into it. When did you start getting into playing the piano?
Oh, right into it. I'm self-taught. I taught myself starting in like 2007. My choir teacher from middle school had a bunch of extra little keyboards lying around and just threw mine away instead of throwing it in the garbage. I started to teach myself piano, and to this day I've not had like a private lesson. So
Everything's self-taught.
yeah.
Do you learn by listening to and mimicking the sound?
So for my writing, I do a lot of just screwing around and just like play what I think sounds good. A lot of times that leads to like a few weird chords that once I try to analyze them and say, oh, what is that? So I can memorize it. It's just a jumble, but it sounds good to me. So
I like that.
yeah, I do have the ability to read music, but like I don't super use that for my
You like
piano.
to feel it?
Yeah.
So what feeling did you get when you first like started playing the piano?
I like wrote my first song, which was a horrible breakup song, on the piano, and it was just kind of an extension of myself. It's a weird way of saying it, where my voice was already kind of on the track that it is now, but the piano kind of helped justify it. So it's like, the lyrics and the melody can do so much, but this extra element really just amplified what the feeling was.
Right.
Yeah.
That's dope.
I have so many questions about that song you wrote. It's a good one.
My one night stand song.
That one, just cinematic. What mind frame were you in, like, when you made that?
So I write whenever I can't sit down and say I'm going to write this right now. I can't force myself to write. It's very much it just pops in, and it's the least convenient thing. If I ever want to sit down and like write my own album, I'm screwed. But I was literally washing dishes. It's weird that I can pinpoint this, but like in 2013, I like experienced a bad breakup and was washing dishes about a week later, and it just popped into my head. I couldn't figure out the piano for it quite yet, because the piano for that song is a little bit complicated. But literally just a mind space of, if I'm doing something where my mind is completely blank, if I'm going for a jog, if I'm like cleaning up, that's when I accidentally write something. I'm like, oh shit, that's it. I wasn't in like a negative mind space. I wasn't in like a let's sit down and be creative mind space. It was just, this is what I'm feeling. Where a lot of what I write, I've had shows of like 2 hours of me singing and have told the audience, you're listening to my diary. Like this is 100% like a little bit too vulnerable. I'm just like, hi, you're jumping into my mind.
It's like a therapy session.
It's 100% a therapy session.
That's what music is. I feel like
it's great. It's great, but then like I have to put it out in front of people and be like, hey, this is all my, like, you don't go to therapy.
It's healing,
like,
but here's my heart.
Absolutely, and then people will like be like, oh well, that song wasn't great. It's like, shut the hell up.
You're just
This ain't about you. This ain't about you. So a lot of times it's more of a self-expression mindset, where a lot of times when I was younger, I felt worried about saying what was on my mind, and it accidentally came out as a song. So, and that sounds like a very musical, like.
No, I hear what you're saying.
But yeah, it's very much self-expression / oh, this is therapeutic to me. And then when I go to therapy, I'm like, hey, I wrote this song. It's just like, go, tell me.
So are you like big on like therapy and things like that? You go every once a week or something?
I go monthly, where a lot of times I need to take what she says to me and go home, decompress it, kind of see it happen in my life, and then come back to her and be like, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. These are the things I'm trying to do in order to fix it. But a lot of times, I've written about. The last time I checked, I've only written, I'd say only 40 songs in the like decade and a half that I've been writing my own music. And a lot of times I can go back to a different song and like the life lesson is already written from like high school me, which is awesome. But like I can just go back and just be like, oh yes, I've learned this lesson. Let me learn it again.
Repeat or evolve.
Yeah.
That's crazy because like that's something that we're trying to do is bring the mental health in the music at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So you just kind of just literally unlocking the gym, just like right there in front of my face, like yo, this is what you need to be doing, like because like I mean just the core, to put those two things together because literally writing music is releasing your inner thoughts. It's the same as therapy. That it's your canvas is almost like your therapist. You know what I'm saying? And I also want to get into like, cause I want to get into therapy, but I have this mindset that shit costs a lot of money. So like, is it affordable to like get into therapy and things like that?
I have fairly good insurance, like not amazing, but like not like I'm like sorry poor or die. It's like it's for me like manageable, but it's also part of the reason that I don't go every week. Where also sitting down and talking about it for a long time doesn't help me get it out. A lot of times, and it's so stupid, but like literally doing the music part of it helps really decompress, and then I can step back and not be my own therapist because I don't have a degree for that. But I can step back and say, now that the immediate emotion is out, let's diagnose what led up to it and like kind of really do the work myself, and then report to my therapist and see what she has to say about it. So it's kind of like bouncing the idea off of a wall as opposed to, hi, fix all my problems. She helps kind of give the tools so I can go by myself for a month or two, fix what I need to, and then come back to her and say, all right, let's fix another thing.
Like that.
Yeah. Wait. So how did you get to this place of like of wanting to go to like feeling free about therapy and wanting to like work on your mind and things like that?
The pandemic was hard. Do you guys know? The pandemic was hard.
We had a pandemic?
Yeah, a panda. Where I just had a lot of. I'll try to take on the stress of everybody else. I don't want to be like that. I'm an empath. I don't want to be that person. But partially, I do try to take on everybody else's stress. And that was not the time to do that. So I had like a big breakdown, especially it was like pandemic was happening. It was in June, so Black Lives Matter, like the big movement of it was happening. Some things were going on in my like, personal life with my family, and like everything kind of just piled on top of me. And it was. I wish that I could say like, oh yes, I chose to go to therapy because seemed like a smart idea. I life pushed me into that.
You had to.
Yeah, it's very much like your body will naturally do this. If you don't slow down, your body will slow you down.
It will.
Yes. Like, oh man, I can keep going to work, and then your body says, lay down something.
Then you will get COVID, and you will be forced to be in bed for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That happened to me.
It will happen.
Yeah.
And I low-key love that, just because when I like that something will slow me down no matter what. Yeah. Everything happens for a reason, though. Very much in that mindset.
Yep, that's literally the mindset I go where I like low-key like if you pretty much, if something happens, it's a learning experience from it. You just gotta take and learn from it. Like a loss is not a loss. A loss is a learning experience. So, actually, Lou, you got a question? I have a question brewing up in my head. I gotta get thinking. Cause I'm just like so fond about it. Like how you was able to get to this place of like wanting to get your mind free. Like it's so tough for people to wanting to go into therapy and wanting to, be openly to talk about it. Cause a lot of people feel like, especially us black people, we feel like we are.
You're not allowed to show that.
Exactly.
Stop crying.
Exactly.
And nobody's gonna listen anyway.
Yeah, like get your ass up, go to work.
Absolutely.
Like that's literally like everybody's band-aid. So it's like, as soon as you go to somebody, be like you talking to somebody, they be like, nigga, you bitch ass nigga, like you know what I'm saying? Like we gotta deal with that.
You got food, you fine.
Yeah, right. So it's like to have now like people actually getting into the field. I know about the field because my mom that's what she's been in, you know what I'm saying? So I always knew about it. But to see more and more people, more young people, how old are you now?
I turned 30 in a few weeks.
So we're the same age. We're about the same age.
Okay.
I'm 29.
Yeah.
So I just turned 29, but we're about the same age. We're 90s babies and whatnot. So we got the 2000s babies. I feel like they got a pretty mental health.
Yeah, we got a rough go at it.
Man, in the 90s, niggas
the
was
fact that
wild.
we can like sit in a circle and be like, so where were you for 9/11? That's not a great bonding experience.
Man, I'm telling you, man.
I was in the kitchen.
Yeah, I was in art. Yeah, 3rd grade art.
Cause you gotta think, if we're 90s babies, our parents was probably like 70s, 60s babies. So they were born and raised on some more strenuous, strict shit. So like their minds are trained like that. Things ain't really start turning over to mental health and everybody go talk to somebody until like later on in the 2000s era. So like we still deal with that. Like, boy, you can't talk to them. If you don't brush that off, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
there's 100% still a stigma. With my job, I have to work with teenagers, and it's why I said something in front of a kid of like I was relating a story of like, oh, I remember my friend passed away, and like it was a weird, like everything stopped, like somebody was talking, but everything washed over me, and this, like, I want to say like 12 or 13-year-old girls, like, that's a trauma response. And, like, they're very insightful, and I wish that I had that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, well, just get over it. And it's like, you can get over things, but like, trauma is trauma. The fact that like that first therapy session during the pandemic, that she said, oh no, that's all trauma. And I was like, nah, I'm just being dramatic. And she's like, no, that's textbook trauma.
Did you know that we had guidance counselors in high school we can go to?
Yeah, it felt like I would go to them and complain. It was very much like the nurse, where you would go to the nurse and be like, I'll put an ice pack on it, bye sweetie. And it's like, that didn't do anything.
I didn't even think about the guidance counselor back in the day. Like, that's not something that I thought about to go, like, to talk to that we actually did have somebody. They provided someone for us to talk to. The problem was they just had, like, 200 other kids.
Yeah, in middle school, I was very lucky in which I had a black male like, guidance counselor.
Yeah.
Like, it was the first, like, I had a father, but, like, he wasn't around a lot. But, like, it's the first guy that I was like, oh, man, I could do something. Bro.
I was about to say a joke, but I want to keep this.
We all feel the joke.
We all get weird, man.
Don't say it. We feel it in our soul.
Like, hey, I know, man. I know.
But it was like the first time that I was like, oh, I can do something. I don't have to be my drug dealing brother. I can be whatever I want to be. I can be Mr. Green.
Yep, exactly. You feel free to not feel you gotta be these stereotypes. I feel like everybody's on stereotypes. Like they say, yo, go be a rapper, go buy a chain, you know?
It'd be so easy.
Did you say Mr. Green?
Yeah.
Was that the guidance counselor's name?
Yeah.
Hold on. Wait, what school did you go to?
Thornburg, no.
I had him.
Yeah. The chillest guy.
He's got a great heart.
Yeah, he's got a great heart. And it was like, oh, this is a not angry black man. This is a guy that's successful, has a family that he loves, and just is genuinely happy to see people around.
He gives
like,
dad vibes. Like, you just look at him, you're like, I want a hug.
Yeah, absolutely. The best guy ever. But I forgot, we had a question.
We were talking about something about, was it?
The stereotypes. Stereotypes. yeah, the black guy stereotype. Very much my whole vibe.
we bonded over something that's happened so much.
Stereotypes are so easy, and it's like, it'd be so easy to just fall into one. And I never felt like I have never been the angry black guy vibe that people were like. I grew up in a white neighborhood where it's like everybody's like, oh, you're the one black one, so you're probably angry. I'm the kid running around giving hugs, and I feel even that way about my music of like people have been like, oh yeah, you wrote that one rap song. It's like, no, that's just a song that I felt. Like, oh, well, you have that one country song. Nope, it's just a song by me. Like, I don't want to sound like anything. I don't want to be anything except for me. That's my goal.
Yeah.
Create your own genre.
Yeah. I don't want to say genre, it's bullshit. But it's very much like, if you're an artist, do everything. Like, it's cool if you have what you specialize in.
Yeah.
But don't limit yourself to just that corner when there's a whole world out there.
Yep.
Right.
So I feel that same way about me of just like, I want to be who I am. There are a bunch of options out there, but like, I'm not going to fall into your stereotype. I'm sorry.
Don't even apologize for that. Just be you and be like.
Oh, it wasn't as sincere. I'm sorry. There's a middle finger. I'm sorry.
No, that's good.
So, like, what are your aspirations for like the music? Like, you feel like it's something that you want to do professionally? Is it something that you're just doing for a hobby? Or?
I literally, so I spent 5 years away from songwriting. I left college and thought, I'm a big boy now. I'm too big for this. And at the beginning of the year, I had like a horrible breakup, and I just needed to get something out. And I went to one of the open mics around here and was like, oh yeah, I remember just loving this when I was in college. I used for college anywhere on campus. I'm singing my own shit. No matter who's listening, I'm just like screaming out. So I have accidentally just jumped back in just because it feels good. And if you're watching, I have a Spider-Man hat on, and it's very much the rest of my life. I'm Spider-Man. I'm performing for people. I have to do to other people. But this is the one moment that I can just be Peter Parker, where I can just like, this is my sincere, true self. And unfortunately, some people from my job have shown up at shows. And I'm like, hey, we're not talking about this.
No.
Right.
Not your business. So yeah, my goals are honestly to just keep going and try to go as sincerely as I can. I think we've all seen the artists that like you can tell when the originality / the sincerity is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, wow, we had a good first 3 albums and then there's a drop.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to stay on the sincere part, even if it's like I write a song every like 4 or 5 months.
Right.
Kind of like NF.
Yeah, like I don't want to write for the sake of other people, and that sounds very selfish.
For the money, almost like.
For the money, for like, oh, I need to fill more time for the show. Yeah, it's very much like I want to write a song because that's how I felt in that moment.
Yeah, I feel like that's a decision as an artist you do gotta like kind of make, cause like if you want to make bread, you almost gotta be like on timing type of thing.
It becomes a factory of just like,
Yeah,
oh, I just need to keep pushing out
that's
products.
crazy.
Yeah, mass production, and it's not like.
Sometimes I feel that way.
Yeah.
Sometimes I definitely feel that.
But you're not creating like an original thing every time.
Right,
You're
are
just,
you
like,
livestock or are you life?
Yeah.
Right. Ooh. Bro, I'm trying to tell you, Lulu, yo, great first day, Lulu. Oh my God, man. Hitting deep.
I thought about writing a poem like that, but I already write so many poems about like just the world sucking, the people sucking, so
Yeah.
I feel like I should do something
that's what you feel, that's what you feel. Like, I try to go out of like I love breakup songs. It's a bad habit, but like if a good breakup song comes out, I don't care. Like I would love to write more like love songs. I've written like maybe 2 love songs and try to make them as sincere as possible, but then I've tried to write other ones. Nah, it's not it. So if you are writing depressing shit, keep writing.
That's what works for me.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta turn your pain into art, because, I mean, a lot of people in this day and age, I mean, at least I noticed, I am younger than you guys, but the people in my environment, they're like, yeah, people are really into therapy and in feeling your feelings, but then a lot of people are like, you're different if you're happy. Like, if you're happy, then, like, what's the problem? Like, almost like your whole personality goes when you're finally found happiness. And it's like, who are you without your pain? Who are you without your depression? Who are you without all the bodies you're lugging?
That's such a fear. That's such an honest fear for me as a musician. Of like, if suddenly I go to enough therapy and it's like, I'm cured.
Your artistic flair goes away.
Yeah, what do I write about?
I'm telling you that's the case.
It's terrifying.
I'm telling you that's the case.
I don't like it. Nor do so I'm not on meds. I'm very much like, talk to her, kind of figure out what I need to fix. But like, I do worry about the day. Like, what if everything is suddenly fixed? And like, this is probably not the healthiest thing to say, but like, the struggle is part of life, so I don't hate it. Like, I'm okay if I'm not always happy, because that's a natural human emotion.
Right.
Yeah. So
you are hitting. I have so much stuff to say, but I feel like I gotta create like a whole nother show, cause it's supposed to be about you right now. But like, I'm like, yo, you're hitting on so many things that I be thinking in my mind, cause I'm like, all right, so not to cut you off too, man, like, cause I be thinking like, what happens, right, when everything's perfect, when not even perfect, but like financially you got everything.
You're
right?
steady.
You can make it. You can do whatever you want to do whenever you want to do it. You feel like almost like everything's at a perfect point in your life. What's next when you need to figure out?
So I'm very like not goal driven. Yeah, goal driven. Like I need to see a deadline. I need to see like, oh, this thing like and not seeing that freaks me out.
Yeah.
There's always steps above though. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. That's what I was just thinking. Yeah.
Okay, so like
we don't have enough time. Isn't it? It's almost like we don't have enough time to finish to do everything, to complete everything, and then everything's also changing through decades and these years. So we gotta adjust through these decades. So it's almost like we never really have the amount of time to really get to the end. It's gonna always be something. Some of it may be higher than others, I feel like, but I feel like we'll never get to the end. Cause even me being so aware of certain things, I feel like it's still hard to like implement them every day. Like I still wake up on some, man, fuck this shit. Like I could have everything I want. I could have Christian could be like, yo, we got 10 studios, and I'm like still like, damn, I gotta force myself to get up and come to my sanctuary.
Yeah, even like a dream job.
Right, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, this shit crazy.
That's something you gotta fix here and here.
Yeah.
That's at that point. And honestly, I think you should keep doing the work. Life is so much better. Life is so much more clear. And when you get into like a mind loop, then you're able to like walk yourself out of it and be like.
Yeah, I've kind of, sometimes I'll call myself out and just like text my best friend and just ask, am I doing bullshit? And he'll very clearly just tell me, yeah, you need to stop. And like I luckily have enough. Like I have 3 people that I know I was not in a great headspace on Saturday, and for a second I was like, maybe my best friend isn't my best friend. Maybe he actually is.
Maybe I annoy them.
Yeah, they're like, oh God, I must be a burden to him. And very quickly smack that thought away. That's stupid. Shut up.
Because if they don't want you around, like you're grown, they'll leave.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
So like I have the coping mechanisms of like I can fix things as I go, but sometimes you don't realize that there's something that needs to be fixed. It feels like you're just in the pit and you're just like, especially happy fall. Seasonal depression. The second that it turns cold, a lot of people are just like, this is the worst. songwriters wrote this lyric of the weight of all the world can blind me to its beauty. And I love it to death because like very much I can listen to that and be like, oh, that's what's happening. I'm accidentally diagnosed and like fixed.
Man, this is man, I'm telling you right now, bro. We could have a whole interview on just straight mental health stuff, on just straight life stuff. But like, let's dive back in while we still got some time here. Let's dive back into like the music and things like that. So, what would you say your favorite artist is?
You suddenly forgot about everyone.
What?
You
suddenly forgot everybody. So you're not gonna believe it. Yes, you will, because of how my music sounds. Sarah Bareilles, she's the lady that did "I'm Not Gonna Write You a Love Song," but she has a lot of deep cuts that are just depressing. Where like she will write the things that need to sell, and there'll be like 3 of those on the album, and then everything else is like very personal, very like just heart everywhere. As a vocalist, fancy. I'm a vocalist. As a vocalist, like there are like the greats of this. Like I can listen to Whitney Houston for hours. Apparently, when I was a kid, like my mom would just like place me in front of the TV if Whitney Houston was playing and shut me up. I'd be like, and then just beginning of "If I Will, I Will Always Love You" would just shut me up. So, but I haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah. Man, so like you said with the music, you're kind of just going with the pace of things. So like, is there any like temptation to like want to ever get your music to like where like so many people are recognizing it, or is it just like you just okay with just 1 or 2 people, 3rd person, 4th person here, I'm cool.
It goes back to the everything happens for a reason. I went on my first plane ride. I'm horribly afraid of heights. Went on my first plane ride in 2015, and I had been like adamantly like.
Have you been back since then? Been on plane since then?
Yeah.
Okay. So you didn't stop just off once you made that leap, you kept going.
I was so concerned about if I die on this plane, which is very morbid. If I die on this plane, my music won't be able to like reach the people that it needs to reach. Where like I have the songs about depression, and like I have a song that's horribly depressing, but like on the other hand, if somebody could listen to that and say, "Oh, he put into words for me," that means everything. So I am not somebody that wants like all the fame. I just want it to reach who it needs to reach. So if somebody comes through the show and says like, "Oh, that song really hit home," or like I've had
saved my life.
Yeah, like the first time that I ever sang one of my songs in front of a friend, he like just started crying. And it was that stupid breakup song of like me expressing my first breakup, and I finished the song and I looked over and he's like, "That was beautiful, man." And I actually recently sent him a Facebook message saying like, "Hey, thank you for showing that it could matter." And he's like, I just took it so to heart. I remember like exactly the last breakup that I had right before that, and it meant something. So if it can mean something to somebody else, then that's all it's for.
I found your music at my rock bottom, and it did like your music shine brighter than most music here. Where can people find your music?
I'm working on an EP right now. I'm my own worst enemy, so it's taking its time of me trying to get the perfect take, and the perfect take doesn't exist. But I'm